The 9 o'clock show.
BBC Three Counties.
Yeah, come and join us, everybody. Britain is obliged by EU regulations to bail out any country which enters financial difficulty, like Ireland. The question being asked today is, who will we have to bail out next? Let's ask Jonathan Davis, economist and wealth manager at Jonathan Davis Wealth Management. Jonathan, who's going to be next?
Portugal.
Right. Why are they skint now as well, Jonathan?
They're on skid row, just as Ireland and Greece and Spain and Italy are. And the way the markets work is that they focus on one entity at a time, whether it's a company or a country in this case. Clearly they did Greece in the spring and summer. They've moved on to Ireland. That's sorted now, with massive caveats, so if you want to talk about that. And Portugal is next. And Portugal, like Ireland, owns an absolutely arm and three legs. They have borrowed beyond belief, and of course they can't afford to pay it back.
The knock on, they were saying that there's a lot of investment from British banks in Ireland, and that's why effectively. But we're not the same with people like Portugal or Greece, are we?
We are in many respects like Portugal and Greece, because the amount that our government, our banks, and our households owe amounts to something like 4.5 or 5 times the annual economy. It's literally gargantuan. The slight difference between ourselves and other countries is, particularly with regards to how much the government owes, is that we don't have to actually repay it for in excess of 10 years. So clearly we have a window of opportunity there. However, you need to understand, we don't have to bail these guys out. We didn't have to give £7 billion to the Irish banks. We won't have to give money to Portugal, but we will do it, because the Irish banks, the Greek banks, the Portuguese banks, the Spanish banks, they owe our banks hundreds and hundreds of billions of pounds. So if they go down, I tell you, in an instant, we go down with it.
You see, what I don't get now is, I thought, remember the day when it all hit the fan, Jonathan, it was because people were funding debt with more money that was debt, right? That was the idea. We're effectively doing the same with Ireland, aren't we? We're giving them money that we've borrowed from somebody else to fund their debts.
You're absolutely correct, Ronnie. And what your listeners need to understand is that what happened first was that the banks lent to consumers who couldn't repay the debt. So the banks went to the government because the banks couldn't repay the debts that the banks had borrowed. The Irish government now realised it can't pay the debts that it has taken, shall we say, responsibility for. So it has gone to the European Central Bank, which in itself is backed by the International Monetary Fund, which is effectively the United States. In other words, we are all becoming debtors of the United States. It is truly remarkable. But ultimately, as they say in economic history, first it's the households that go bankrupt, then it's the banks that go bankrupt, then it's the governments that go bankrupt. Who do you turn to for ultimate financial security? The answer is, you don't listen to the politicians. You certainly don't listen to bankers. People have to secure their own finances, which we can talk about if you want to. So, in essence, all they're doing, yet again, the politicians in cahoots with the bankers, all they're doing is kicking the can down the line. They have not resolved the issue. I said, Ireland sorted. It is not even close to being sorted, because in due course it'll come back again.
Jonathan Davis, an economist and a wealth manager at Jonathan Davis Wealth Management.